Welcome back. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kristen Langford and I am a pre-K teacher in Florida. It is November, so we have just finished up all of our October fun with Halloween, and we are moving right along back to our letter of the week and planning for Thanksgiving. Turkeys, all the things. Let me go show you what we're doing. Said, it is now November and it is Wednesday. On Wednesdays we do our cooking. Those of you that have been watching, you know that. Today for this letter of the week is letter C, so we are doing cookies, and we just did a simple little Betty Crocker bag of chocolate chip cookie mix, butter, egg. We're gonna mix it up in a minute with the kids, then we're gonna put it on to a cookie tray and bake them. While they're baking, we're gonna do our little paper recipe book, and then we'll eat it and then finish our recipe book. All right, see? Turkeys everywhere. So this is the recipe book, simple. Cookie mix, butter, egg. I asked the parent for just one egg, and look how awesome. I wonder where she put all the other eggs. Maybe she has one of those organizing egg containers in her fridge. But anyways, one egg, the butter, it's just on the back. When I send the email to parents, I actually Googled this on store, so I found it on Target. And if you swipe through the pictures, it'll show you the back of it, and that's how I knew what ingredients I needed when I made the book, as well as just to make sure we got it right. So we'll mix that all up in here and then put it in the oven. And as you can see, everybody has their crayon boxes ready with their recipe books ready. So we will get started on that right away. This week's theme is farm animals. So our art project is a pig. These are pretty cute. So cute. But we basically just put all the materials here for them with an example for them to look at, and they are on their own, to be honest. They follow the direction as best as they can using the materials that are here. We have our poem this week. Sam had some extra time, so look at these beautiful illustrations she added. Our sensory bin has some hay, some corn, a fence. I think there's a couple of fences, there we go. Those were from our 5 little pumpkins. And then some little farm animals in it. And our Play-Doh, this one is super cute. We actually got these pigs last year. Somebody was like, do you want these? And we're like, yeah. And we gave them some brown Play-Doh or some green for the grass. And one of the kids lined up a ton of pigs in the mud upside down and said, they're rolling in the mud. They fell over. Then we have some corn kernels for them to eat. Another kid put this in the middle of all the green and then put a pig on top and surrounded the green also with some blue beads for water. Very creative. And then we added a life cycle of a chick in here that they can use as well. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The kids are gonna come in. I feel like I'm like short and sweet with you guys, but this week has already been crazy. I've had an IEP on Monday, and then I have an additional IEP today after school, and then on Tuesday we had a meeting, so I feel like it's a little chaotic. And then we're gonna have a feast with our families in 2 weeks, so I had to like set up a Sign Up Genius of all the materials that we needed and send out that email. We're also doing a school-wide fundraiser with the color run, and there's like theme days. Today was wear red or wear Bucks, but I'm not a Bucks fan, so I just wore red. So it's just like a lot to keep track of, but I'm doing the best I can. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow on Thursday to go over our centers. I did switch something up with my center, and I have a differentiated like activity and lesson plan thing, so I will share that with you, and then whatever else I can think of. Hello, it is Thursday. Look at me. I had my IEP meeting yesterday. It lasted a long time. I actually was supposed to like be home by 3:30 because then my daughter goes to dance, and I like totally lost track of time. And the other parent that takes Kenzie to dance was like calling me like, where are you? Woo, that sums up how my week is going. I feel like it's like just crazy. So many things going on. But anyways, I feel better now. IEP meetings are done, getting that paperwork figured out, and now I'm ready to move forward with the next thing. So let's do this. I told you guys that I switched up my small groups just a little bit with my group. I made a separate like lesson plan for small group, or my group, and I just did simple little boxes. I mean, I literally did this, I don't know if it's kind of blurry. I did it on PowerPoint, and I have 4 groups, and I kind of switched up which kids are in which group too, based on like how their data has shown that they've shown some growth. They might have been in a a little bit of a lower group, and now they've really learned a lot of letters so they can bump up, and so all of that. But anyway, so I have math groups, and I have group 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I like differentiated exactly what I was gonna do with that group. Also, we switched, we used to do our literacy groups right after our morning meeting, and then we did our math group after our story time, and I literally don't know why I did that because it doesn't make any sense. So I swapped it, and we were doing our math groups first, and then we're doing our literacy groups after our story, because that makes more sense. So I'm gonna start with math for that reason. This week, the focus was patterns in math, and so with my little ones, you know, they're nonverbal, working on just being able to say some words or some noises, stuff like that. So their group is always gonna be a little different than the others, but I still kind of focused it towards patterns a little bit, and then also we're learning about farm, so we just worked on the vocabulary of farm animals. I found this activity online, and it has a picture of an animal. So we talked about what the animal was, cow, and then I said, say moo, you know, so we talked about what the sound that the animal makes. It also has another part to it. I use that part for reading, so it's the same activity but used different ways. So anyways, for math, we talked about the animal and the sound that it makes. And then in relation to patterns, I made patterns using those sounds. So I would say moo, quack, right? So I tried that. Not so much. So I did more of like clap, touch your head, clap, touch your head. And the little boy that was in the group, he was smiling. He thought it was so funny. I don't really think that he quite, you know, was like, oh, I get it, clap head, clap head. But it was still engaging, it was fun. We were trying to get him to follow commands, and so he was, and he was having fun. So that's pretty much how that group went. Okay, then my next group was for patterning, and it was A-B patterns. We just focused on A-B patterns, and I started the pattern. So I have all these little cards. It's like a farmer, a cow, there's a pig, and then there is a barn. So what we did is I would start the pattern with like pig, cow, and then I would ask them what comes next. And so pig, and then cow, and then pig, and then cow. And then in front of them, because I have so many of these cards, I would give them, you know, I said, okay, yours is gonna be farmer, cow, here's some extra cards, you build the pattern. And so I would just work with them individually, and we only worked on A, B. We just changed the pictures, and they each had their own cards in front of them to really build that pattern and manipulate them. Then the next step up in the group was working on AB and ABB patterns with the teacher. So I would start it same way. You know, I had the cow and the farmer, and we talked about how it was ABB and what comes next, and then they had cards in front of them and they built it. So it was same materials but differentiated on what type of pattern I was working on. Both of those groups still needed adult assistance with getting it started. And then the last group, I said, you know, I want you to make a pattern using 2 pictures. That's called an A-B pattern. Show me what you want to make. And they had all the materials in front of them, and they built their own A-B pattern by themselves without me starting it at all. And then we moved into the ABB by themselves without me starting it at all. Then I did take the teachable moment to switch it up and say, okay, so if you know how to do that, then what if I did a B pattern, and I started it and then I let them finish it. So same activity, but just, you know, more adult support, adding on to what type of pattern it was, and then independent activity with me like watching to touch base a little bit. And I really like the way of doing this type of pattern activity because they had the materials in front of them and they were able to manipulate them. Instead of like me doing it, all of it, and then asking them questions, they actually got to touch it and it was hands-on. Okay, so that was math. Then for reading, my same little friend who's working on, you know, following commands and learning new vocabulary, we went back to this activity with the animal, talked about the name of the animal, the sound that it made, just reviewing that again. But instead of doing patterns, we tried to do some matching. This particular student has been working on matching with the same object. So like it would be a cow, and then on the table there would be like a cow and a horse, and he'd say match, and he would put the cow to the other cow. So he knows how to do that when he is following a command. However, this activity was a shadow, and it was much harder for him. So instead of giving him multiple choices, I would hand him the cow and just put this on the table, and I would say match and get him to put the cow to the shadow, versus, you know, having these two and him having to recognize that, because it was too hard for him to understand the shadow and not just matching that picture. But nonetheless, we really did work on those animal names, which is a big part on his IEP. So that was helpful for him. Sometimes his activities and the other friend who's in that group might not have, that friend was absent. That's why I keep saying one kid. But they might not have the same skill as the other groups, but they might be more focused on what they need on their IEP, and then I manipulate that into the small group time. All right, so then for literacy for the other groups, I have both of these cards. One has the uppercase letters and one has the lowercase letters, and it is from thisreadingmama.com. Two of the groups were the beginning sound with the capital letters. So we just literally went through, named these letters. We haven't even learned all of these letters in our letter of the week, but you know, we just went over them. We talked about what sound that those letters make, and then together we talked about the vocabulary. Here's the lamb. I would say lamb, and then I would show them how to stretch that word. Lamb, say it slow. If I'm touching my shoulder, that's the beginning sound. There's a lot of new learning because we have not talked about beginning sounds that much in isolation, more just like this word starts with this letter. So anyways, lamb, and then we would put it to the matching letter. So one of the groups needed a lot of support with this. The next group up was able to do this, where I would hand them the picture and they could match it onto the letter. And then the last group we did, it was the same pictures, but this one has lowercase letters. So a little bit more of a challenge versus using those uppercase identification. This is knowing that lowercase identification. The other independent groups are not differentiated, which I honestly, in a class like this, like, you probably should, but it's difficult, you know? It's like, we can only do so much with only two pairs. So when the other pair comes, as a teacher, you can manipulate the activity without it needing to be like a whole different activity. So anyways, Miss Sam's group, obviously she did her letter C book, and then that was for literacy. For Miss Sam's math group, she did a color by shape, just reviewing those shapes that we've already learned. They did really good with this. It turned out beautiful and they were super proud of it. And then the independent activity for literacy was computer, and the one to go math independent was these cute little barns. The numbers are upside down. And then they used a cow and a little chick, and they counted those and put them on the barn to match the number. So this is the one that I was saying, like, if they can't recognize the number, made it a little more difficult, but between me and Miss Sam, we were able to say, that's the number 6, count to 6, so they could add that on there. And then finally, the last independent activity for literacy and math is matching uppercase to lowercase letters. Again, they've been working on this for a couple weeks now, so they're getting faster and better. We set up the uppercase letters in order, and then they would take the lowercase somewhere in here, the lowercase letter, and be able to match it right underneath on the rug. What was helpful is that there's just a few different pictures, so they could see the cabbage was only on a couple different letters, and so it kind of helped them to focus on those letters and then be able to decide where the match was. But I gotta say, 3 weeks in a row, I feel like, and they're definitely getting better with that. And then the last independent math activity was another numbers and matching. That one card would have the number, the other cards would have an animal on it, or something related to a farm, you know? So this one has turkeys, they would count it. We got chickens, I think these are donkeys. So they had to count how many animals and then match it to the number. I mean, we're doing this activity a lot in small groups, so it's an easy one that they can hopefully build practice and be able to do independently. Okay, holy cow, that was a lot of talking. But hi guys, it's Friday. I am ready to go. It is raining outside, which is meh, but also because soccer got canceled. I love soccer, I really do, but sometimes Friday night soccer it's a hard one, you know? So we went from having one kid going to a sleepover, one kid having practice, and one kid having a game, to only that one kid having a sleepover, and then the other two kids, we're gonna watch a Christmas movie tonight, even though it's November. I am going to wrap up what we did for Farm Week. I'm gonna show you our poem and the books that we read and any follow-up activities we did for farms, and then I'm gonna go home. Let me show you. All right, so also letter C week. These are all of the things that the kids brought for show and share. My drawings are good on some, but not all. And then our final pig display. They did pretty good. All right, this week's poem, Farm Animals. We just gave them a blue crayon to make a pond. This was the grass all around the edge, and then we gave them a baby chick for the ducks going quack, quack. This was kind of last minute because we kind of forgot to put together a craft, so this is what we had for a die cut in the library, and that's what happened. Okay, so as usual, we start our reading off with our letter from Scholastic book. This one was about copycats, which honestly was a great lesson about copying our friends and that we don't always love to be copycats. We read this book, so informative, but extremely long. These ABC books are always very long because it gives you something for every letter of the alphabet, and that is a lot of stuff. Farms ABC, and it is an alphabet book by B.A. Honan. It's part of our curriculum. The pictures are amazing, the photographs. However, it was long. I tried to paraphrase some pages, but it did help with learning vocabulary for the farm. So it was a good beginning book just to get our minds ready for what is on a farm, what a farm is, what kinds of things happen on a farm. Then we did a follow-up activity with 2 different groups. One of the groups had this paper, Down on the Farm and then Not on the Farm. And this was from thisreadingmama.com. I feel like I might have gone over this already. Or maybe I showed you something else that was from that same person. And so it just had like little picture cards, and we sorted through. That's what it was, small group, same picture cards. We took the picture cards and we talked about what the animal was called, if it makes a noise, and if it lives on the farm or if it doesn't live on the farm. And then in certain groups we talked about, well, if it doesn't live on the farm, where does it live? And then for the other group, it was the same thing, farm animals, not farm animals, with different pictures. So it was just same activity, but 2 different groups to really group them and be able to have a different type of discussion. We read Duck, Duck, Goose. It's kind of a pattern book, which goes with our math. So this one was kind of tricky actually, but it's cow, cow, cluck, cluck, hee-haw, cow, cow, cluck, cluck. And so we had them make a prediction of what would come next, and it does it with other ones too. Like this one was Duck, Duck, Goose, you know? And then I think the first one, horse, lamb, horse, lamb. So another way to teach patterns, but in a farm book. This one was also with our curriculum. Okay, and then on Thursday, we read Farm Babies. This is just a pop-up book or a pop-out book or something like that. That's stencil book, there we go. It's a stencil book, and it's old, and it's not even mine, and that's in our library, but it was perfect because it went over a horse and the baby horse's name, and then it gave us facts about a horse. And then it went through cows and the baby cows type name and what they like, then pigs, and then sheepdog for puppies. So it gave some examples of the animals and the animal baby. That way we could then have the animal and the animal baby, which I literally don't know where those cards are, so I hope I find them before I have to clean all this stuff up and put it all together with farms. But nonetheless, we went over the vocabulary of, you know, cow and calf as the baby. And then I laid out all the animals and we talked about what their names were. And then I would pull a stick and I showed them the baby and they had to find the match. And then we, you know, built on that vocabulary. And then today we did not have a story because we had show and share, which I already showed you. I feel like that's everything. I know I kind of ran through that, but we are completely prepared for next week. It is weather week and we have a lot of really cool stuff. Our sensory bin is super cool. We made some sensory bottles that are super cool. And by we, I mean Miss Sam. I sent the Pinterest link and she executed beautifully. And then we have our new Play-Doh, all those things. We got all that stuff ready, all prepared before Monday, which is a great week. And all I have left to do is my newsletter and my cooking email with the things that we need for cooking. So I'm ready to go. I hope you enjoyed this video. I am so thankful that you guys are watching these videos and they are helping you. If you have any other suggestions of what I should do to help you, please put them down in the comments below and I will see you next week. Bye. Hello, welcome back for another weekly vlog. It has been a crazy week and it's only Wednesday, so woo. You know, on Monday, my youngest daughter Casey had a dentist appointment, so I was gone for the morning and Miss Sam and Miss Taylor held held down the fort in here, but when I'm not here, we really can't get to a lot of small groups, so then we were behind on small groups. I came right around before lunchtime, like they were doing like play centers, and then, let's see, so we didn't really get that much accomplished with me there, you know, but they still did the whole group activities and like playground, all those things. Then on Tuesday, yesterday, because today is Wednesday, we had finally our school fundraiser, which was the color run. All those days we had to dress up. We finally had the event. And our time was 9:05 to 10:05, and that pretty much took, you know, a big chunk of our learning. So we didn't get to small groups again that day, and the kids were like, when we came back in, we had to change everybody because they were very colorful. And so that took time. So basically we haven't really had a lot to do this week. And then today finally is Wednesday. It is a normal day. We did our morning meeting. We did double small group. And so on Friday, we'll have to catch up on some more small group. We'll still get to story time today. We're doing some cooking today. Our theme this week is weather, so we've been having a lot of conversations about weather in the small groups, which I can show you. But as far as like story time, I feel like we're not really getting as many days in for story time. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, so we do not have school. It's just a crazy week, can you tell? But let me show you, we're getting ready for our cooking, so I'm gonna show you. So we already made the batter before the kids went outside, and we showed it to them so that we could go ahead and get them in the oven. I'm about to put them in the oven real quick so that while they're playing outside, it is cooking. Our other ingredients are Oreos, and then we have the chocolate icing, and we have mini M&Ms as well as actual M&Ms, because this is what we are making. It is the Owls chocolate icing. The Oreos are gonna be opened up. I'm sure we're gonna have some wasted other sides, but we'll let the kids eat that later. And then M&Ms for the little nose. Super cute. O is for owl. All right, and then I just grabbed one of the cookbooks. I have so much to do. Like I said, super crazy week. We're like all over the place. Cupcake, chocolate icing, Oreos, and M&Ms are the ingredients. And then as usual, they are just gonna draw their picture. I think they might actually really like this one today, don't you? Also for weather this week, we added some clouds and some of these. They're already getting super fuzzy, but you know, for lightning. And then we dyed some rice blue. We are using a liquid dye to do it, and it happens so fast. It dries so quick. It has no smell. Last year I dyed rice using a vinegar and a food coloring, and it smelled like vinegar no matter what. So this is definitely the way to go, and we are loving it. It's so fun to make all the different colors of rice. I actually need to buy some more rice, but anyhow. And then for weather, for our Play-Doh, we have it up here. Got some rollers out. We've got raindrops. We have hail. We have windy leaves. And then we have pipe cleaners to build a rainbow, which in March we have a whole rainbow Play-Doh one too. And then these again for lightning. And finally, we have a couple things I want to show you here. Also, this like stresses me out. I need to figure this out because it is just like so much stuff. I use it all, but it's like, it's just so colorful and so crazy, and I need to clean it up. But anyways, back to art. We are making a stormy night. So they have black paper, they have cloud die cuts, and raindrops and lightning. And so they can add their things and put it to however they want to make it. Very easy art project. This is amazing. We got these water bottles. I think I showed you about them before from our district, and we have been wanting to make some sensory bottles, so we've been putting these out with the sensory bin, and they're all different types of weather. We hot glued the lid on. This one is for a sunny day, just gold glitter with orange and yellow beads. This one is a rainy day, blue glitter in there. This one is for snow. There's some snowflakes in there too. And then white beads and white glitter. This one is hail, which is our favorite because of the noise that it makes. And also they have no idea what hail is. And then this one is a storm. We laminated some yellow paper, put it in the water. It's holding up pretty good for lightning strikes, and then blue for the rain. This is a cloudy day. We put cotton balls in there. They're really expanding. And then a fall windy day with some leaves and silver glitter. These have been a really big hit. Oh, happy Friday. This week has literally been insane. I already gave you the preview of the previous parts of the week, but now it's already Friday because we had Veterans Day off. And honestly, I'm gonna show you all of our small group things, but we really didn't get to half of those small group activities because this week has just been wonky with me not being here on Monday and then the fun run on Tuesday and then no school on Thursday. And then Friday, we're like trying to play catch up to try and do some of the things that like definitely need to get done. So I'm gonna share with you everything that was planned for this week and whether we did it or not. All right, I'm just gonna keep it real simple and just show you in the organizational bins. That way we can really go over it. This was one of the activities that I did in my group. Remember, I'm working on differentiating. So this is with my lower group that's really working on vocabulary. One of the groups, we literally didn't even use the spinner. We just did a match and I said, tornado. And I said, point to tornado. And then they just pointed to it. We used Play-Doh to make it a little more engaging. That's why there's Play-Doh bin in there. We practiced rolling snakes and rolling into the little balls, and they got to put the ball on the tornado. This was with a lot of, you know, right here, put it right here, and then they got to smash it. So I feel like that made it a little more engaging. And then the next group up, they were just, you know, working on using the vocabulary a little more, but also finding multiple of them. We used Play-Doh as well. They definitely had an easier time with this activity and were able to do it independently afterwards. I printed this to work with that same group, that the step up basically, that was doing pretty good with that one. And it's just figuring out which one was different. We did not get to it, but it's super cute. And it's just a short and sweet, I wanted to just briefly go over same and different again since we did it during our whole group, but I did not get to it. Then for my other groups, we were still doing patterns, and I just have cards here. Different weather, same packet, as you can tell, same pictures and clip art, and we just use these to go over different patterns. We did an ABC pattern, and they had to repeat it, or I gave them, you know, 4 different things, and they had to make their own ABC pattern. So just another week of patterning. And all of that, this is like seriously a mess. I feel like I'm a mess this week. I'm so sorry. All of that was for math, for my differentiation. For the Math Center, we actually pulled in some science as well since we're learning about weather. And we have this game from Lakeshore, and Miss Sam worked with them on this. There's different colors. If you kind of, it's a little blurry. There you go. It has pictures, and they had to sort whether that item would belong in winter, spring, summer, or fall. So it kind of went over seasons, as well as she talked about what kind of weather goes in that. For Math for Independent, we have these. It just has a number on it. They didn't really do the tracing of the word, but they used the 10 frame to make little Play-Doh balls and match the number. So they would use Play-Doh to make a snake, to make the number, and then we did Play-Doh balls to make that many. Play-Doh is the way for independent, that is for sure. And then for the other independent for math, we just did the clip and counts that we are used to, using the fine motor skill to use clothespins and count how many and clip the number. All right, then going backwards, now we're gonna go to literacy, and we did not get to one literacy group. So all of these things that I planned did not get done, and it's kind of sad. I will say that Miss Sam's group, you know, she does, there we go. She does her book. We are gonna try and fit this in today as a whole group activity since this is my life. Since we didn't get to it during small groups, so I'm gonna put that on my table. My activity for literacy for me, so one of my 2 lower groups are mostly students who have their IEP. So during literacy, I'm going to be using their IEP goals to work on activities, and some of them are ready for things like this and some aren't. So I would say that this activity was used for my 2 higher groups if I would have gotten to it. And then my plan for my other lower groups was to just review the letter of the week in isolation, building it with Play-Doh or touching it, saying it, going over the pictures. I think I'm gonna just focus on not one letter for them, and then the other groups can do like a review of multiple letters or whatever that skill is. And then for, you know, Miss Sam was the picture of the book. For the Independent for Literacy, it's always computer. And then the next one was going to be looking through weather books. I have so many weather books and they didn't get to look through any of them, but we can read some of those together. I will say we also barely got to any read-alouds this week. I mean, it's been a week, but the kids are still having fun. So, you know, it's a successful week. Sneak peek into next week. You know, it's Thanksgiving. Then we have a whole week off. So I have all the laminating happening everywhere. It is a birthday on Sunday, so we have donuts. It's like a trend this year. The parents are bringing in donuts for birthdays, which we love because they eat those way better than they eat cupcakes. One of the books we did get to was just for fun. I got this, our book fair was happening this week too, on top of everything else. You see what I mean? And it's called Do Not Open This Book by Andy Lee. Super cute. I will say, kind of like, you know, we're trying to get the kids to not listen to him, which is a little opposite of what we're working on. So we talked about how it was make-believe and that it's just to be funny, and we probably should have listened because at the end, let me not ruin the book for you, but you know, at the end he says that a witch said if somebody finished the book that the witch would turn him into a frog, and then he gets turned into a frog. But it's still super cute. They were giggling and laughing and thought it was hilarious. Some of the kids were like, no, 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 don't do it. And others were like, do it. All right, and then before we went outside, we did get to our poetry notebooks, so they are still out. This week's poem was super easy to learn, thank goodness, because we barely had time to go over it. It's raindrops, very catchy. Raindrops, 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 raindrops. And it had rhyming words, which I gotta say they're getting so much better at, because I said raindrops, raindrops on the street, raindrops, raindrops on my, and they were able to fill in the blank the first time that we read it. And then we just gave them a cloud and some raindrops, and they all made it themselves. I showed you earlier in the week look at this classroom. It's crazy town. I showed you earlier in the week the art project, and so far these are what they look like. We have a lot of kids that have not been able to complete it, so we're gonna work on that. Over here we got Daisy and Duke. Last week we did not send them home. We completely forgot, so we have to do that. I need to put them on the door over here so I don't forget. And then a little project. We are gonna have a Friendsgiving feast, so we are making placemats. We are almost done with everybody's. We got some that we gotta make into turkey still, but at least the handprints are done. Our social emotional this week was accidents. It was so cute because today they actually got to act out some accidents. So I called up 2 actors and I told them what to do, and like one of them was to accidentally run into your friend and then they fall over, and the acting was amazing. The little boy was like, I'm just walking backwards, as he walked backwards, and then he like ran into the girl and she like dramatically fell to the ground, and the whole point was for them to practice what they do. They can say, sorry, pick them up, are you okay? And then, you know, move on from there. The other one was a tower of blocks and spilling paint. So lots of practice with how to handle an accident versus when your friend's like, you know, actually pushing you on purpose. I don't think I have anything else to really share with you guys. We did our letter craft, which was an orange. So maybe at the end of the day, if I have time, I can swing that in for you guys. But I don't even know if this video is long enough. Survival mode. If I think of anything else to add, I will come back in a little bit. Hello, happy Monday. I'm actually shocked that I'm even starting this weekly vlog on a Monday. However, I am holding my camera because I just got my tripod out of my bag and it is broken. So I'm gonna need to order a new one of those. But anyways, super exciting because this is the week before Thanksgiving break. We get an entire week off next week. So we just have to make it through these 5 days, and then we get a little bit of a mental break, which is what a lot of us teachers need right now. We are gonna have our Thanksgiving feast with our families on Wednesday. So I made a sign up genius of like things that the parents can bring. We're gonna set at the table. It's very informal, but super cute. My arm is hurting from holding the camera. And then on Thursday, our county does something called Great American Teach-In. I'm not sure if other counties do that, but it's where people come in and talk to the children about their jobs. And so sometimes they might bring things with them, like animals, if they work with animals. We have Camping World coming, so they bring a big camper and the kids get to walk through it, and like a fifth wheel, you know, it looks so cool. And then we also have a family member, a grandfather in our class, who works with race cars, so he's bringing a race car for the kids to see. We have a firefighter coming, so lots of cool stuff. That is on Thursday. So basically, just have to get through tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we'll be like so busy because of having families here, obviously. And then Thursday, we have that pretty much all day. And then Friday, we don't have anything special going on. We are not gonna be doing show and share. We are going to be sharing our turkeys that we're dressing up like turkey trouble. So hopefully on Friday I can show you everybody's creative thinking. But for now, let me show you what we got going on. Okay, we will start here with our art table. We just did a simple little turkey with half a paper plate. We have eyeballs galore in here. They actually did really well with only taking 2 that they need. I was a little worried about leaving them all in there, but then we have the turkey body, glue stick to obviously put everything together, some feet, which got used a lot today, so we have to cut some more of those, and then dabbers, which they think is so fun, and they actually remembered to put all the lids back on. Our poem is short and sweet. We made up a really cute little dance, and we're gonna perform this for the parents on Wednesday wearing these adorable hats that I'll show you in a minute. Okay, and then for sensory, we brought the corn back out, which the kids love, but it's so loud. We found these little wooden things that we put in here, brought some leaves back out, and then we made, like we did for the pumpkins, we made turkeys, and they are just filling it up with the corn. We added those pumpkins back in too. They had a lot of fun with that today. Okay, and then for Play-Doh, we are making turkeys. I modeled with the Play-Doh how to make 2 balls, one for the top head, like a smaller one, and then a medium size. And then we have some feathers, also modeled for them how to stick the pointy part into the turkey instead of, you know, smashing it into the Play-Doh. I used the corn as nose, some googly eyes, and then I told them that they could use the other part of the Play-Doh to like make a scene with some of these wooden parts that we found again, and some pumpkins, and they went to town. Did such a good job. Okay, so we're doing this in one of our small groups with Miss Sam this week so that they can get it done. But only 3 kids got to go today, and here are their cute little turkey hats. Big ol' eyes are always just the best. Okay, so that's it for now. I'm going to use the rest of the time to hopefully get some lesson plans started for the week when we get back. We're gonna jump into gingerbread men, I believe, that week. We have 3 weeks, and then we have 2 weeks off for Christmas break, holiday break, winter break, all the things. Hello, it is Tuesday. Look at me go, recording 2 days in a row. Anyways, I had to finish my recording yesterday with just showing you guys a couple things and not really wrapping it up because we left a little bit early. The puppies at home are getting older, so we're trying to see if we can keep them in the crate a little bit longer. I have to leave. My husband leaves a little bit later in the morning, and then I leave a little bit earlier on Mondays, but the other days we have someone come let them out because it's just too long. But anyways, yesterday during my literacy block, we were reading Turkey Trouble, and my principal came in for my informal, which is basically just where they can pop in at any time. I mean, we obviously have to turn in our schedule, so they come during a time where they want to actually see. And they come in and they use our evaluation tool just to evaluate like what we're doing at that moment, instead of like a formal observation where it's scheduled and it's planned. And to be honest, sometimes those turn into like dog and pony shows where you're like, oh, let me show you every good part of my teaching in 1 little minute, instead of like the real life, how it is on a day-to-day, you know? And there's a reason for both of them, obviously. But anyway, so it went really well. We were reading Turkey Trouble, like I said, and the kids were giggling and laughing. If you haven't read it before, it's super cute. The turkey knows he's gonna be Thanksgiving dinner, so he decides to dress up as other farm animals, which was perfect because we just learned about the farm. And then, you know, all of his costumes were almost correct. That's what he kept saying. And then the next animal would come and tell him like, oh, that doesn't really look right. And then he would dress up as that animal, on and on and on. And then finally, he decided to dress up as a pizza man at the end. We read the story. We were working on sequencing. We had little cards. We were sequencing what he dressed up as. And then they had an activity to do on their own for sequencing. And it was pre-K. I mean, it was kind of a mess, but it's pre-K. It was as good as we are. It wasn't a mess because anything was wrong with the teaching or the students, anything. It's just, it was a cutting activity, and we're all at different levels of cutting. So we used a highlighter for some. We used the book trick where you put a book under their elbow so that they don't lift up their arm. Some kids had Miss Sam hand over hand. So they were finishing at different times, and then the kids were coloring while they were waiting for their other friends. And nonetheless, she didn't get to stay for them to glue them in order, but she heard the story and the questioning and the transitions and the cutting and saw the differentiation. So overall, it was good. And also, I know you guys can relate. It feels good to be done with that. You know, one more thing off the checklist of the school year. Okay, but now my arm is literally tired because I'm holding my camera instead of holding the tripod. So I have to hold it up higher. Now you got this great chin angle. Anyway, so today, Tuesday, we are practicing our poem over and over and over. It's super short, which is good, but we're just trying to make sure we're performing it well with the motions and everything. So we just did that before the kids went outside. And we got this huge package in the mail, which we are super excited about because we signed up to do the Special Olympics for, I think they call it early learners. I'm looking at it. Young athletes. And so they give us a curriculum with lesson plans and so many goodies. So we're gonna unpack this box together. All right, I already got started a little bit during the end of small group time because I was so curious, but look at all this fun stuff. So this is the curriculum, Young Athletes Special Olympics, and we are going through it, and it gives you what week it is and what day it is. I was a little confused by this. My parent was like, Kristen, get it together. Week 1, day 1. I was like, weekday 1-1? Anyways, so it gives you exactly what you're doing for that day 1. This could last 5 minutes, and then this is still day 1. I Spy for 5 minutes, Inchworm Wiggle for 5 minutes. This is continued, closing sports song for 5 minutes, and then day 2. So all of those things go together, and we're gonna wait till we probably come back from Thanksgiving break. Maybe we'll start a little bit before winter break, or we might just start all of it in January. But I wanna get a chance to really look through and see. So there's 8, I'm pretty sure she said, 8 weeks of lessons and 3 days. So I need 8 weeks with 3 days a week. We're actually doing a lesson. We haven't decided if we're gonna do it during our outside time or if we're gonna kind of make an extra time to go outside again just for this. But it does recommend that you have 1 adult for every 4 kids, which hopefully when we get our other para, we will have that. They also gave us this activity guide that I have not had time to really look through, but how fun. Gives us all kinds of information. I'll read through that. And then the good stuff, all the goodies that we need in order to do the lesson. So far what I've taken out is they gave us some bean bags, and all of this is free. If you sign up to do the Special Olympics activity, I mean, you have to actually do the lesson plans, and you have to have a ending activity where, the parents can come and they actually do the Olympics, and they even get shirts and everything. But they seriously sent us all of this stuff for free. And I think we keep it all together. If we do it again each year, we keep it, I think, for up to 3 years, she said. And then they send you new stuff as the years go on if you continue doing it. All right, so bean bags, 1 of these for this. Look, 6 rackets, and then the little, I have no idea what this thing's called, but I definitely have played this as a kid. And I will learn what it's called, clearly. And then this bag has some beach balls in it, some squishy, bouncy type yellow balls. Looks like some of bouncy balls that we can blow up, a kick ball that we can blow up. There's nets to hold all this stuff, which I love organizing. And then look at all the goodies. Obviously the hula hoops, and I'm gonna pull out some more stuff so I can show you. All right, I unpacked the rest. Holy cow, it's so colorful and all brand new. Love it. I unpacked some more of these. So now we have 3 of those with 6 rackets. We have a million of these, 11. That's an odd number. There's pairs and then 1 extra. Anyways, So I'm not really sure what these are for yet. It looks like you would stick something in them. Miss Sam thought maybe we would stick those in there, but I don't know. I thought maybe there'd be like a balance beam. Not sure. I'm sure the lesson plans will fill us in. All right, and then I got another bag of bean bags, and then 6 hula hoops, which is great because we actually have hula hoops and they are not looking so good. And then these look like baton type, maybe like hang them up so they can like go under them. A million cones, which we'll definitely need. And these are like those spots, you know, you like lay them out so they know where to stand. So super exciting, all free. And in addition to all of this stuff, I also got $300 that I put into a school account so that I can spend that on other things. And they're gonna provide a t-shirt for every kid and I believe a medal as well. Okay, it is the end of the day. I had a faculty meeting and while I was there, Miss Sam turned this whole classroom into the cutest room ever for tomorrow. So I'm gonna show you. So first, we did make placemats, but then we decided we didn't really like the way that they looked on the table with all the other cute decorations. So now they're just a fun keepsake for the parents. We wrote their name at the top and then Happy Thanksgiving and the year and then just their cute little handprints and we laminated them. So those are ready to go. We also made these hats. This one's missing a feather, but this one has all 3 feathers, eyes, all that I showed you earlier, but now we did all of them. They're gonna wear that when they do their little performance. Then we just put these cute little fall colored flowers on our cabinets. And the grand reveal definitely is the tables. We asked the parents to bring in the tablecloths and plates and napkins. And then Miss Sam just whipped these out like it was nothing. Literally construction paper. She put some paper, tissue paper inside and then die cutted a little turkey to write their name on it. And then in our media center, she had decorations that she decorates the media center with. And we just used the little scarecrows on each of the tables. And then she also had little turkeys, so cute, male and female. And then there's some dollars here from Playtime, so we'll have to move that. And then we have our Happy Friendsgiving sign, and the kids got to write their names on a leaf. We have 2 more kids that weren't here today, so we're gonna get them to write their names on that leaf, and then it'll be all done. Our cute little spoon and fork banner, random things we found. Okay, so super cute, we're ready. The only thing is that we don't eat until 11:30, so tomorrow we're going to be doing our morning tub on the rug, and they're already on there ready for the morning. So we're gonna be playing with that on the rug. We'll do, all of our activities are just gonna have to be on the rug, and we'll be fine. We're gonna survive. So that's all. I will hopefully record a little bit tomorrow afterwards and tell you how it went. Hello, happy Thursday for us. It is Great American Teach-In. Yesterday we had our feast. I was really trying to get recordings of like the aftermath of the feast, but I mean, it was a lot. It was very successful, but you know, the parents came in and then they left and then lunchtime was different and then we also had a fire drill, so then, you know, nap time was cut short and I was doing dishes, which nobody likes dishes, but you know, we got through it. I'm also going to go through our small groups. We haven't gotten to all the small groups yet because we've had a couple things, you know, different, like today, Great American Teach-In, and yesterday with like the feast and stuff, our schedule was just a little wonky. So we might be able to get to some more of them tomorrow, get through like quite a few of them, and if not, oh well, it's not a big deal. All right, so I'm gonna do math groups first because we switched our schedule, like I said, in a different one, and math time does come first. So in the first independent group, we found from This Reading Mama, these, you know, shape guys. The kids love these. So we have like a turkey and a pilgrim, a Native American, Mayflower, and then another version of a turkey. They just build with the shapes. There was a little bit of conversation happening on their own, you know, like, oh, I need a square, I need a triangle, so that's good. In Miss Sam's group, we are doing another review of just patterning since we've been learning a lot about patterns, so they were able to be pretty successful with these. But there's, you know, a boy pilgrim, I don't know if you guys see that. Boy pilgrim, girl pilgrim, back and forth, like turkeys are in there. It is from Lori Gibbons, and it's also a freebie. Like I've said in a million videos, I find all of this stuff on Pinterest. Once I know my theme and know what skills I want to work on, I just type it into Pinterest and see what I can find. Other groups for math was, we have 2 separate activities because sometimes the activities are really fast. So one of them was puzzles. This one does not go together, but it had a number, and then it has a turkey, and you count the feathers on it, and then they build the little puzzle. And the other one was 10 frame with turkeys, and then a matching number. We've only actually been, you know, directly teaching numbers 1 through 5, but when we get back from break, we are gonna start going into the other numbers 6 through 10, even though they've had plenty of practice with it, obviously in small groups, but some direct instruction. All right, and then for my small group, speaking of direct instruction, I did kind of start using, I did a little bit of a review of numbers 1 to 5 using my circles, my dry erase circles on the table. That one of them is ripped, so I'm gonna need to get some more of those, and dry erase markers and like a tissue for an eraser. And so I just said, draw 3 circles, and they had to draw 3 circles, and I said, now try and write the number 3, and then I would model for them, and they would practice, and just a little bit of that because it was another number matching activity with all of the numbers. And once we did it, I just used that as a, you know, a review to go over some of those numbers, knowing that we're gonna be moving on to the bigger numbers. I wanted to see what they still retained, and overall pretty good. I will say, being able to write the numbers is still pretty tricky for them, just knowing, you know, top to bottom, and that's typical because they visualize the number and they just try to piece it together instead of, they're not really understanding quite yet, you know, exactly the motions. But Jack Hartman has some songs for that, so we'll review all of that. Okay, those were our math centers. For our literacy centers, my group was working on the cutest little activity ever. Kind of bummed that we only got through a couple of them, but it is a pumpkin pie beginning sounds activity. So it's a lot of pieces, and I just separated them into some letters of the alphabet because otherwise you have so many pieces and you're spending way more time trying to find what you need. So this is just letters G through L, and we went over each of the letters, what it was called, what sound it made. So this is one piece of the pie. And then I would go through, each of them had a turn, you know, what is this? This is glue. Let's listen for the first sound. G, 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 glue. Find the G, and then they would match it. And so each letter builds in to a pie. It's kind of hard to hold this at the same time. But as you can see, a piece of the pie, there's 3 pictures that go with the letter. And it was really cute. Each group only got through like 1 bag, to be honest, but just an overall review of listening for that beginning sound, and maybe not so much identifying which letter makes that sound yet, but at least being able to pull out that beginning sound of the word. Okay, and then one of the independent groups was a fun group this week, and it was supposed to be an independent group, but it's an activity that they can't really do on their own because they don't know how to play the game concentration. So we have an ABA therapist here with one of our students, and she volunteered to run that group for that time, and so that was very helpful. But we just took these pictures. I know it's like so blurry. There we go. We just took these pictures, and there's 2 of them, and I put it behind, still blurry. I put a background behind it of construction paper, and then we laminated them. That way you can't see through it, and we just laid them all out, and they had to flip them over, find the match, say what the word was, and once again, just working on that thematic vocabulary. And in Miss Sam's group, this is another reason why we didn't get to do all the groups, because we put a turkey hat in her group. I think I already showed it to you, as her small group activity, but then we needed all the turkey hats to be ready by Wednesday afternoons. We were like, that can't be a small group. So she just like pulled them during playtime, and so her activity didn't really quite work out. So, you know, we didn't really think that one through. And then the other independent activity is turkey alphabet. This one didn't get to get cut out yet, but it says Aliyah Mari. So it just has the capital letter on the mats, and then a little baggie of the lowercase letters that they can match to it. And then for some extra independent, instead of the computer, I just put out Thanksgiving books, some of the ones that we are reading as a class. After I read it, I would put it in that group too, and some were just like extras. So moving right along, the books that we read this week, the first one was Turkey Trouble, and I let somebody borrow it, but I'm hoping to show you guys tomorrow everybody's turkeys. We only got like 4 or 5 back so far, so fingers crossed we get the rest of them tomorrow. And then we also read this story, 10 Fat Turkeys. It has so many rhyming words that can help them, as well as counting backwards, and it's fun. Today we're gonna read Thanks is for Thanksgiving, and then tomorrow we are going to read Happy Thanksgiving Biscuit, and then on Tuesday we read There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Turkey. I actually borrowed that book from another teacher, and then I ordered it on Amazon, and it's in my car. So I'm trying to get all of those because they're very good for sequencing in this age group. And then we did a sequencing activity that I found for free, again, for There Was an Old Lady Who Swallowed a Turkey, and it ends up being the Thanksgiving parade. Tomorrow we will get to do our poetry notebook, and I will show you our little craft that we're gonna do. It's a little bit more 3-dimensional than we're used to, and it has to dry, so we'll have to do it early in the morning. But nonetheless, I'll show you all that tomorrow. I gotta go because the kids are probably coming in soon. Woohoo! Friday before break. We are all done. It was an easy day, and I'm just gonna show you real quick. So this was the Funny Bird poem. We used a coffee filter, gave them markers, and then we sprayed it with a water bottle. Just gave you a couple examples here of how different kids did theirs, and then we just drew the extra features. Okay, so I'm just waiting for the all call for us to be able to leave. Our principal goes around and checks all the rooms, make sure we have things unplugged, blinds shut, doors shut, all those things before we leave for a week. That is it. I am so done with turkeys. I feel like we made so many turkeys, and I am ready to move on to the next holiday of Hanukkah and Christmas. We also have a Christmas performance that we need to start getting ready for. All things that we really have to do when we get back, but I am ready for this break. We're going on vacation with the kids and the dogs, so woo, good luck. And as always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button and that notification bell, and I will see you soon. Bye.